Damn. Yeah. 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 Good afternoon, ladies and gents. Hope everybody is doing well. It is your guy, Mr. Fingers, coming to you from Zagner Central in Oklahoma City. And I got a special guest here with me today, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, 2022 SEC Championship game is well underway. First quarter is complete. Looks like the second quarter is underway. Did I miss a score, sir? Do I need to update my tab there?
So far, it's 14-7.
Okay, all right. So far, UGA is leading 14-7. I thought I heard you say that somebody had scored. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss that. But LSU's looking very scrappy, very scrappy. Got our guy from the SEC Super Conference group, David Penn. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. About yourself? There was a touchdown. Georgia just scored again. It is now 20-7, pending the extra point.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Go Dogs. We already got some folks in here checking us out. I think that's my homegirl, Julie, with the black and red hearts right there. Go Dogs, back at you, darling. So, hey, man, look, it's been a great season for LSU. A couple of years ago,
no complaints.
You guys were on top of the world. Joe Burrow was looking like Thanos. He was just snapping his fingers and opponents were turning to dust. Every week, people tuned in. I fell in love with Ed Orgeron. All I wanted to hear him say was, "Go Tigers!" That was it. That was it. Well, we got out to the offense to do the thing, and then Joe Burrow go Tigers. That was it. That's all I wanted to hear. And won the Heisman Trophy. They're on top of the world, and then the following season happens, and the wheels on the bus that go round and round, kind of the tie rods went bad, and it fell off. Mm-hmm. And so, 2 seasons after, you're looking for a new coach. There's this nationwide coaching search. They bring in Brian Kelly. Everybody laughs because Brian Kelly's at Notre Dame. Different style of recruiting, different style of recruiting, different program. And he comes in and makes his little faux pas. A couple of faux pas with the awkward dancing with the 360 camera and the my family. But LSU has, I think it's safe to say that your squad has exceeded all expectations this season. What do you say?
Every one of them. So no complaints. So, I mean, if you look at Brian Kelly's career on the whole, he's won everywhere, even before Cincinnati. That guy has built winners everywhere he's been. Notre Dame was no different. And if you're comparing styles, Nick Saban's the greatest coach of all time. He's going to go down that way. There's not really a way to refute that at this point. I mean, it is what it is, right? But what makes Saban successful is he's a coach, but he's also like a CEO, right? Right. And Brian Kelly is kind of in that same mold, whereas Ed Orgeron was not. And when he lost his top assistants like Brady and Aranda went to Baylor, his replacements, he didn't even screen them well. And then, the recruiting wasn't as good as it had been, even though Ed Orgeron is a good recruiter. And then by the time you get to the end of the 2021 season, people are leaving. The program's, 500 over the last 2 years, right? And Ed Orgeron still gets a lot of love around the state. He can still walk in anywhere and people are going to love on him. And but I think Ed would agree that it was time to move on. He didn't complain. He didn't fight for his job. When Scott Woodward said, "Hey, it's time to move on," Ed Orgeron asked him, "Well, what door do you want me to walk out of?" It was kind of that.
Hey, how much? What door you want me to walk out of? When am I leaving? And what door you want me to walk out of? I love that story. Uh, so here we are after exceeding all expectations and beating. Although the Tennessee game did not go so well, but to pull off that big win over Bama, huge. And I think that was a point when people started to say LSU is for real. And I mean, well, those folks that were paying, those folks that know football, not the couch coaches, but
Sure.
the folks that pay attention to football, it's like LSU's got something going on here that bears paying attention to. And then turn around the following week, seals the deal, wins the conference, and here we are today. So, how are you feeling about your performance right now so far?
I mean, so if you're a realistic fan, you you feel like you have a puncher's chance, right? But there's a reason why Georgia's a 17-point favorite. There's a reason why you have 3 losses on the season. Uh, would LSU fans love to say we're the SEC champs this year? Sure, we would. But is it realistic? Not really. I mean, we were picked to finish last in the conference. First of all, 7-5 was the was most of the predictions that were coming out of the national pundits, and to be playing in this game against Georgia is a huge step in the right direction, especially in year one and a complete rebuild. Most college football D1 rosters have 85 scholarship athletes on their football teams.
Right.
LSU's at 65. And when Brian Kelly took over the program, he had 39.
Oof.
So for anybody that says that, oh, LSU was loaded and, Brian Kelly just had to take the talent that was there and win with it, that's not true. 15 kids transferred out. Eli Ricks went to Alabama. You had the kid Landon Jackson that went to Arkansas. Max Johnson went over to A&M when his brother committed to A&M. So we lost 15 players. And then, sure, we got 15 transfers from Arkansas and Arizona. Obviously, we got Jaden Daniels. I think that what the first key that Brian Kelly was going to be okay was the early recruiting period. Because Ed Orgeron had the 15 kids that he was recruiting. They were Louisiana kids, and Brian Kelly, without any ties to the state, he's probably talked to some of these kids while he was recruiting for Notre Dame, but he secured every one of the recruits Ed Orgeron had and signed them in the early period. And then you go into into National Signing Day in February, and he lands guys like Harold Perkins, and that's a defense changer. That's a guy that you build around.
Monster.
Oh, he's amazing.
That kid's a monster. Yeah.
I mean, if they usually don't award All-American honors to true freshmen, but if you were being honest, that's a kid that could probably gain that kind of consideration with the year he's had. And the scary thing is, it's year one. He was a late sign. He wasn't an early enrollee, so he's still kind of playing on instinct. Once he figures out the entire scheme and he knows where to be and all that stuff, you're going to see something even possibly more fantastic. But I mean, we're talking about next year at this point. But this season, I mean, if an LSU fan is complaining about being 9-3 and playing in the SEC championship game, then you're unfair. Your expectations are unrealistic. Brian Kelly has won. I mean, so you had the one game, the bad beat at home versus Tennessee, but that's the outlier. Every other game, we didn't start out in the first half like you would want to. We played from behind a lot, but the defense always made the adjustments, and that allowed the offense to come back. And I mean, LSU is probably one of the best second half teams in the country this season, just based off of the adjustments. And if you have a problem with Jaden Daniels, I would say that the 9 wins that LSU has is directly because of that kid's talent and abilities. Is he the most polished quarterback? Is he a Bryce Young? No, but he beat Bryce Young heads up.
Facts. 100% facts.
Can you complain?
No, not at all. So, I mean, it's almost like UGA kind of went through that phase also when Mark Richt came in and took over, and he was pulling out 10 wins for a couple seasons, and folks were like, how come we're only winning 10 games? Prior to that, we were barely winning those, you know what I mean?
Right.
So now I do get why the administration wanted to make a change, because they wanted to be able to get over the hump, but that is what that is. So Brian Kelly, kudos to Brian Kelly and what he's done with the LSU program so far this year. I hope that's something that he's able to continue moving forward.
We would love to be playing opposite Georgia every year in the SEC championship game.
Yep, 100%. So let's talk about what's going on today. What do you like that you've seen so far? And we're gonna try and get through this and let everybody get back to their regularly scheduled program, and including you. I see you are just getting done with drill. And as an old Army medic to a current serving service member, thank you for your service, brother. Appreciate
Thank you for your service.
So, yeah, God, I've been out 20 years now. Oof, makes me feel
old. I've got 12 to go.
Oof.
17 down, 18 down almost, and 12 to go. I've got 8 years active. I'm going to finish out my last 12 active, and then I'm done.
God bless you. God bless you. And I heard you say something about recruiting, and I know that a lot of people think that, oh, you guys don't go to the field and you don't deploy. And yeah, I know what the recruiting trail is like. It's not that I did it myself, but I had a couple battle buddies that did, and it's not cute.
It's a rewarding job and it's a fun job, but I just started recruiting 2 months ago, so I've had 17 years doing everything else. I've been to Afghanistan and a couple other places that aren't necessarily fun, but I mean that's what I signed up for, and I enjoy it. I don't have a problem when I say I've got 12 years to go. Like me, I approach that with a smile on my face.
Hey, look, we're going to go ahead and give you the air. We give you the air. Got a little thing when we get excited about something on the show. We got an air horn. It's a little cheap air horn sound effect that they've got on this platform. We're going to go ahead and give you that air horn sound effect from going across to the sandbox and making it home safe. We appreciate you. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
So today, yeah.
LSU looks like they're moving the ball all right. A decent mix. You see some Josh Williams, some John Emery Jr., Jaden Daniels completing balls, challenging the Georgia defense. That was my big question going into today. Now I haven't seen the last touchdown, and Georgia's back on offense right now, so we'll see what happens there. But I can't say I expected LSU to win. I did say earlier today when I was at work that I could see the game going a touchdown either way, just depending on. But it would all come down for me to how LSU plays defense. Can they stop the run and make Stetson Bennett and the offense one-dimensional? Can we keep the Georgia offense off schedule? Because if you could shut down the run, then that allows you to unleash a guy like Harold Perkins. And, Harold Perkins is just one piece, but, many people know who that guy is. He is a disruptor when he's given the space. And I'm not knocking Stetson. I actually have a ton of respect for this kid. A walk-on, 2.5 years. I mean, the kids. They lost one game last year. They're undefeated this year. They're probably not going to lose this year. So you can't argue with. I can remember when Stetson took over as the quarterback as QB1 in Athens, and it was, he's short, and you have this other 5-star and you're not playing him, and there was all this. But I mean, if you have a problem as a Georgia fan with Stetson Bennett, then you're an idiot at this point.
Well, to your point, that same 5-star everybody wanted just got cut by West Virginia a couple of weeks ago. So just saying. I agree with you. At the first series, I was like, man, they are really moving the ball downfield. Whereas our defense, they came up with the big stop on that first series, which they turned into points, which I was happy for. You and I are in here now, so I haven't seen it in the second quarter yet, but we'll get around to that in a little bit. Some of the things that I see from our end that we need to do, which it seems like they have picked up on, and this is just based on what I saw so far. Secondary's got to tighten up. Daniels is able to hit your receivers. Short passes, crossing routes. So we need to kind of shut that down. The other thing we need to do is definitely get more aggressive on the run defense. And again, for those of you watching, if you're seeing something different than what I'm talking about right now, I have not seen any of the second quarter yet. So I'm just telling you what I saw in the first quarter. So that's where we are with that right now. What are you thinking? What are you thinking as far as a final score?
The final score, I thought that, and it's, now it's a 2-touchdown difference at this point. So we'll see if LSU can do anything to catch back up. But like I said, I thought that this could go a touchdown up for Georgia or a touchdown up for, it would be 7-point swing either way, the team that was going to win it. But I mean, at this point, it's looking like Georgia might cover that 17 points. I didn't think that it would be a 17-point game today. So I was thinking, Georgia probably around 34, LSU 24. I didn't think that they would just roll over, because I thought that today, of any day, you would see the LSU defense that's been present in every game, minus Texas A&M and minus Tennessee. But the problem with Tennessee was the special teams shot the whole team in the foot within the first 5 minutes. So you're playing from behind the 8 ball the entire game at that point, and you're only 5 minutes in. So you didn't really get to see the type of defense that LSU wanted to play, because now the offense is one-dimensional. So now Tennessee just gets to pin their ears back on defense, and the whole game was just a cornucopia of mistakes and bad play calls, I thought. But in the A&M game, that was the first game that you saw all season where the LSU defense's front seven got pushed around and they just shoved the ball down our throat. That hadn't happened all season. And hats off to Akane, he had an amazing game. I thought that LSU defense would bounce back today. So I thought, like I said, if they could do a good job with McIntosh and Edwards, then and force Stetson to drop back, and I mean, he's got those two great tight ends, right? Brock Bowers and Darnell Washington. I think Washington
big O.
He's huge. Then there was which game was it? Might have been Missouri, where Missouri's defensive backs were really physical with those two guys, and it wasn't as easy a game for those two. So I thought that if we can get the Georgia offense off schedule, put it in Stetson Bennett's hands, give Harold Perkins a little bit of room to operate how in the scheme that he's most comfortable with, and have your defensive backs like Ward and Fauché and really challenge those tight ends, that it could be LSU can make a game of it. But then you get the block kick that gets returned 95 yards. Why no LSU football player even made a step towards that ball, I have no idea.
Well, I don't think if I got the rules correctly, you all may not advance the ball if it's been blocked. I don't think. I could be wrong.
I don't think we can advance the ball, but you got to down it at that point.
Right, and nobody had downed it.
Yeah, it's a live ball.
And I love the way he watched and waited until your guys walking off the sideline.
Are you gonna blow the whistle? Are you gonna blow the whistle? All right, he gone.
Right.
Heads up play for him.
Yeah, most definitely. So I'm right along with you as far as in terms of the score. I like to call myself a cautiously optimistic Georgia fan. I love the fact that the win streak has been going on for as long as it has, and we're on the cusp of potentially winning another national championship. But I'm a cautiously optimistic fan. I've seen games where we've gone out and run up leads, and then you get an opportunity to come back. So I'm cautiously optimistic. That's about where I had it. I had it maybe more like 38-24 or something like that, but not too much farther off where you were.
I think one of the things, and a lot of people will say, well, Georgia struggled with this team, and Georgia struggled with this team, and Georgia struggled with this team. I don't think that's just. I think that just might be part of Kirby's style. You'll have. There was a game where Tennessee was just running it up on teams that had no shot of winning. There's seconds left on the clock in the fourth quarter, and Tennessee trying to punch it a touchdown. And but I haven't seen where Kirby has really thought, like, we need to run up the score, we need to prove a point, and that kind of stuff. He gets the lead, they start clock management. And they win the game.
Yep. Sanford Sanford was where you really saw it, because he didn't. They basically cut the game short because he didn't want to run the score up on his mentor. That was one of his mentors, the Sanford coach.
Right. So Stetson, if you watch him play, especially with guys like Brock Bowers, who just looks amazing. There was that one series where they went up by a touchdown, where just play after play, hitting Brock Bowers, down the middle of the field, and could they light you up? Yeah, they can light you up. I just don't think that that's Kirby's style. And I appreciate that about the guy because,
if anything, I think he's saving it.
Sure.
For when he needs it.
Why crack open your entire playbook and show everybody anything when you don't need to? When you can control the clock and win the game running the football. Basic X's and O's, hats on hats, big bodies on big bodies. I don't disagree with it.
Yeah. You and I are members of you and I are on the same platform together, and I'm pretty sure that you have seen where some Georgia fans are like, well, Kirby doesn't do this and Stetson doesn't do that, and the dogs, and we're winning. Be happy. So real quick pause for the cause before we go another further and get into closing this thing out. I want to go ahead real quick and send a quick shout out. We're going to take a little pause break to give our sponsors some love. Ladies and gentlemen, do not go far. Mr. Fingers, David Penn, this week in UGA football, the SEC Championship Game Edition. We will be right back. That is them, ladies and gentlemen. Squid Rips Cards. That is our guy, Sid Swinton, part of the Let's Talk Football family of podcasts. You can find him Thursday nights on Let's Talk Fantasy Football, Sunday mornings during the off season on Let's Talk Football in the morning. He is also on Friday nights with our good neighbors to the north, Andrew Faubert, Chris Headset K. I don't know how to pronounce his last name yet. I'll figure it out. It starts with a K, ends with a K, and got a whole bunch of vowels in the middle, so I just call him Headset. Our guy, Alex Loosemore for North Sports Dynasty. Holla at him today. That is his tag, at Squid Rips Cards, live on TikTok several times a week with the whole packs and pack breaks. Get at him today. I am here, ladies and gentlemen, with my esteemed guest, Mr. David Penn, fan of the Tigers, the Bayou Bengals. Laissez le bon temps rouler.
That's right.
Go, GEAUX Tigers. Here today with us, and we're talking the SEC Championship game. First of all, sir, I do appreciate your time. I know you said you had a little bit of a slate of things to get into today, and I want to get back here and see how this game is going because it looks like there's been no more movement on the scoreboard. But so yeah, definitely want to do that. But so what do you think going forward from today for the LSU Tigers? Because I mean, let's be real. We talked about how you exceeded expectations, and you definitely have come a very long way since your coach said this on national television.
Opportunities there in that first half, but you're only down by 4. What was your message?
We can't play any worse than that, I don't think. I mean, it's my first game. Maybe we can.
I mean, he basically went on TV. He was like, "What you want? It's my first day."
So I love this guy. Like people rip on him for the dancing and the stupid accent, but he's honest.
100%.
He tells you exactly what's on his mind, and he's not really sugarcoating anything either. I don't think we can play worse than that. Maybe we can. I don't know. It's my first day.
Yeah, essentially. Well, real quick, and I forgot to do this coming out of the break. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're here watching this game today and you're there on the live broadcast right now, today is another opportunity for you to win one of these very, very cool Zagnif apparel beanies. All you got to do is drop a comment, whether you're on the Facebook or the YouTube. That includes you, David. If you want to drop a comment while we're still live, you get in and join. And we'll do a duck race tomorrow because we always do it the day after. We'll get all those names. Your name will go on a duck, that little online timer game. And the winner of the duck race will get one of these snazzy embroidered beanies, courtesy of our apparel line, Zagnif Apparel. And thank you guys so much for supporting the show and for supporting Zagnif Apparel. So then coming back to what we were talking about moving forward. Should the game go as we think it will go, what do you think your bowl projections will be? How do you think you wind up doing?
We'll probably play on January 2nd. So if we lose today, I believe that Alabama is going to go to the Sugar. I think, and they'll play the team from the Big 12 that gets lined up in that game. I think Tennessee will go on to the Citrus, and they'll play the ACC team that lines up for that game. So we'll play on January 2nd, most likely. So we won't get a New Year's 6 at that point. But the big thing for me, the bowl game, that's good for recruiting and stuff like that. But after today's game, Kirby, Kelly, Saban, it's full on recruiting, and so you're gonna have the earlier signing period this month. So it's going to be interesting to see for the program, because if we're talking about setting it up for the future, it begins with the guy that you sign. And there's some interesting names that have joined the transfer portal from a couple of different teams now that are, Notre Dame's quarterback just finished the portal. So it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward with some of these transfer portal guys. But, you got to go out and you got to recruit your high school teams. And I think that right now LSU's sitting in number 5. I think that they'll probably move a little bit. Some of the guys, like, there are all 4 stars in most of the recruiting services that you look at. One of them has 3 of the players getting their 5th star. So, but who's going to be the splash? Harold Perkins was the splash last year. So we'll see what Brian Kelly pulls out of the hat and what LSU does. I do expect that, a lot of talk about Jaden Daniels. Does he return? I don't think he does. That was never his plan. I think that the Walker Howard era begins next year, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, outstanding. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, I mean, if you look at the makeup of this LSU team, the tackles that are starting on the offensive line, the both true freshmen. Mason Taylor, the tight end that you see flashing across the screen, that get the 2-point conversion against Bama, true freshman. Hal Perkins, true freshman. We didn't have Mason Taylor, who was the second highest rated defensive lineman in his recruiting class last year. Hurt in the first game of the season. He'll be back next year. So there's some key pieces coming back, and there's going to be a lot of guys that have a whole season worth of experience. So I think it sets up well. You got a lot of young guys to build this program around. So I think it's all up and up from here.
Outstanding. Well, listen, sir, we do appreciate you coming on and joining us here today on such short notice. I think we hit you up. It was yesterday. I don't think it was 48 hours, and you managed to figure out a way to make it happen. I'm going to let you have the rest of your day back, but we do appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, David Penn, LSU Tigers fan. So on behalf of David, and I am Mr. Fingers, coming to you from Zagnif Central in Oklahoma City on behalf of myself and my co-host, who is down in Georgia right now with his family, enjoying the game, Colin P. from the DMV. We thank you for joining us today. We will be back on Monday. We will be back on Monday talking about this game and everything else that's happened in the conference playoffs this weekend. So don't forget to tune in and join us, and that is another opportunity for you to join us and win one of these cool beanies. So we're going to get out of here. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Can we get a Go Tigers from me before you get out of here, David?
You want the Ed Orgeron version?
Sure. Let's have it.
Go Tigers.
Hey, go Tigers and go Dogs. We'll see you next time.
Go Dogs.